Hello and welcome. Now behind me is 2005 Grand Marquis 4.6 and I'm going to be changing spark plugs on it and showing you how. So let's get to work. Now a few things first. One, I am going to go ahead and loosen this clamp right here for the air box air intake tube. I'm going to take this off, which it has a little lever on the back side. You push down, pull off. I am also going to get this clamp on the throttle body here, loosen that off. This thing may have never been off the car. Well, didn't leave me much of a choice. There we go. Now I got some room to move it. There. You come across that situation, it's been on there so long I need more leverage. I need to move it. Two clamps here, took the air filter housing off, mass airflow sensor. You can take a thumbnail, pull this red clip out. You'll have to do it like this underneath, then push the button, pull it out. Now the cover, I just have a 1/4 inch ratchet, and that's all it takes. I'm just using the end of the extension, no sockets. Push forward because it's stuck on those two prongs, and the cover's off. Now we're just going to continue clearing room in order to get to the plugs because they're under the fuel rails. So I'm going to unplug and disconnect a few things that I can see will be in the way. I will go ahead and unplug the coil packs on this side while I'm over here. As well as the injectors. Like the regulator. Now, some people will want to take pictures of all this, where it goes before you start, so you can put everything back right. Now here's where I'm at. I pretty much got it where I can get access to every coil pack, so I should be able to get to the plugs. On both sides, looks like just about everything. Now what I'm going to do, get everything cleaned off so nothing falls in to the holes when we take the plugs out. Now I'm going to remove the coils. I'm taking a 7mm here on a 1/4 inch drive, so I have plenty of space. The only issue is that one right there on this side, because I have to use a broken swivel that I have, but because the regulator right there. But once I get it loose, I can get it with my fingers, just for the simple fact that coils are not tight and they don't need to be that tight. Because of the way I'm going to pull these out, let's set these over here where I won't lose them. And let's be honest, with this and use an extension, you could probably use a 7/8 or 7mm wrench if you have one. Now I can just pull that to the side, and I'm going to set them over here in order as I take them off, so I know where they're at. Not that it truly matters, but these are coming off pretty easy. You can see why I removed so much, especially like this one right here, this harness, just so I got more hand room. And we are at the same principle here. This one right here, I've already loosened up. Now, obviously, the crash bar is kind of in the way here, but still yet, swivel will work easily and get you where you need. On the back one, we're going to have the same deal right here with these two. I'm going to go ahead and use a swivel to break it loose. And again over here. Now, these do come out real easy, and the reason why we can get them out without taking the fuel rail off, you see the angle of them, makes it a little bit easy, and most of it's flexible. So you can kind of push it down, give it a little twist, and pop them right off. Now again, I got some dirt. Looks like it's falling off the side around the coils. So I'm going to blow that out again, just make sure I don't get any dirt down in there now that I got some room right there. Now, if you do not have access to an air compressor, you can just use a vacuum. Now I got my spark plug socket. Now there's two reasons for a spark plug socket. It's got a little rubber boot in there, and it holds on to the plug. Obviously, it makes it easy to get it out, makes it easy to put it in, so you don't drop it. It doesn't fall out, so you can go straight down in there and got it right in. And just gonna go down in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of an extra extension so I can grab onto it a little easier. That way I can grab right here and keep it straight. I'm going to try not to use too much force to break them loose. There we go. It's going to be easy with it. These feel pretty good. I don't hear any gulling or anything. Now sometimes if you do this while it's a little bit warm, they will break loose a little easier, but you got to keep that in mind when working on it. First one's out. I'm just going to go ahead and remove them all. And you can see right here, up against that fuel rail, there's still plenty of room to get to the plugs. So there is no need to pull the fuel rails. Now some people do, but it's not a necessity. And see, I still got room here around the throttle body. I'm just gonna ease it and ease it. Now that one sounds a little hairy. Got a little loose. I'm gonna go back a little bit, and then I'm gonna kind of, sometimes I'll go back and forth on something like that, and it helps. And then once it starts going real easy, I'm fine. which is right there. You can see the reason to unplug that. It's because the harness would have been right in the way on the throttle body, but it's out of our way. This harness technically wasn't in the way, but it kind of is of your hands. So better safe than sorry in some situations. Now I'll just get this last one out on this side. Alright, so here comes usually the point where people are asking how many foot-pounds of torque, etc. You can look that up yourself and see what you need, but usually you look at the plugs and see what they recommend. And usually it's a crush washer. You got a torque specifications. But what I'm using here does not have a crush washer, much like what I just pulled out of there. And a lot of people ask about anti-seize. Now, most spark plug companies do not recommend anti-seize because it can affect torque settings. Whenever you're torquing it down to like 11 to 14 foot-pounds of torque, you put anti-seize on there, and you may think you're getting 11 to 14 foot-pounds of torque, but in reality you're actually getting more than that, so you can cause some damage. Keep that in mind. That's why a lot of them don't recommend it. 2, anti-seize. Some people will take this thing, take this nice big old blob here, and apply it. Show you a little trick for those that want to add anti-seize. So what I'm going to do, get a little bit close here to the edge of the bottle. I'm taking a Q-tip, or you can use a small paintbrush. And I'm just going to put a hair bit right there at the bottom of the threads, and a little bit goes a long way. And that's it. Like I said, once you feel it catch and tighten down, just don't need much. And this is a pretty simple, easy process right here. Always get it started by hand like this. Because it should be easy to start. Now if you try to do that with the wrench and it's not right and it's just not falling down in there on the threads, then you could cross thread it. Now last one on this side. Now that that is done, just gonna slide our full packs back in there. Make sure you press down and pop it on the plug. And I'll go ahead and get a screw started with each one. and then go ahead and tighten down the coils. Now remember, didn't take much to take these off, so all you're looking for is a snug. Now, with all the coils tightened down, all we got to do is simply go back and plug everything back in. Alright, let's be honest, it's pretty much the same thing on this side. The only difference is this little bit right here, which I've cleared so far. And that don't seem to be in the way. Don't look like there's going to be anything in the way, except maybe the heater hose in the back. That might be the only thing in the way. And looks like we're saving the best for last. I just went behind the heater hose, and with this doubled up extension, I had plenty of room to turn it. Now it's going to put the new plugs in. Now remember, like I said, you don't want to go overly tight. I'd snug it down a little bit. You gotta think about yourself later if you change them again. Or let's just be honest, just be nice for the next person. Go right behind that heater hose. And all the plugs are changed. Now what's left is put our coil packs back on. And again, just make sure they get down on there. Pop into place. Now these on this side are pretty easy to get to. Not a big deal. Now again, let's go through here and plug everything back in just like it was. And don't forget the last one in the back to plug up. Do a quick walk around. Make sure they're all plugged in. Connect this back. It just pops on. Alright, now put our air intake tube back together. Of course, this depends on how you got it apart. Push the PC valve back in, or the crankcase vapor, whichever one you want to call it. Plug in your mass airflow sensor. It's got the red tab on it, so we'll lock it back. Tighten these clamps. That should be right there. And then reinstall the top cover. Sliding it through there first. There it is. Alright, there it is. Spark plugs are changed. Relatively easy to do. A little tedious. Easy to do. Don't need to take it to shop. You can do it yourself. Just be careful on the plugs. And that's about it, really. You don't have to do a lot to take it apart. You don't have to do all that extra stuff. You can do it without pulling the fuel rails. At home, a couple simple tools, and you're done. No need to take it to the shop. Pay a lot of money to have it done. There it is. This will also work with other cars like the Crown Vic and the other 4.6 modulars. I hope this information proved helpful. As always, thanks for watching.